crafty crew. It's me, Aunt Vicky from Aunt Vicky's Craft Corner. Welcome back to my channel. Today's projects are going to be easy as well. I'm going to show you how to etch on glass. I'm going to show you how to make over a bread box and how to make a wall decor from an old frame and some skeleton keys. So, without further ado, let's get started. For this project, I'm going to redo this bread box. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clean it, remove the knob, paint it white, put red trim with the red bread written across the front. Let's clean it. I won't be painting the inside of this because I will be using it. Now I'm going to remove the knob. Now I'm going to take my paint. The knob wouldn't come off. I'm going to give it a coat of white paint. Let me go ahead and finish this. Now that I've got the first coat, I'm going to go ahead and dry it. Now let's go for the second coat. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. Now that I have 3 coats of white paint on it, I'm going to let it sit aside and dry completely. Then I'll see if I need to give it a light sanding or do a touch-up. Now that it's dry, I'm going to go over it with a baby wipe just to sort of smooth it out. See if I need to do any touch-up. Now I'm going to take my Mod Podge. I'm going to use this hard coat. Give it a good coat to seal this in. I'm going to go ahead and finish this. Now I'm going to dry it. Now that the Mod Podge is drying, I'm going to go ahead with my red paint and paint my knob. Very carefully. This is probably going to take a couple coats of paint as well. Turn it around. Let's dry it. And I'm going to give this a couple of coat of paint. Now that it's dry, I'm going to go ahead and seal it in with a coat of Mod Podge. I'm now going to set this aside and let it dry for a couple of hours before I apply my stencil. Now that it's all dry and it's all sealed in, I'm going to go ahead and cut out my stencil for the front. So I went ahead on my Cricut space and typed out the word bread in the font I liked. It is a little over 11 inches. Now we are going to cut out the stencil. Now that I have that cut out, I'm going to take it off the mat and take the word off. Now I'm going to take the word out. Sometimes this Dollar Tree vinyl is not the best. Put this back. So it looks like this. Now, I'm going to take my adhesive, my transfer tape, now I'm going to apply this to my stencil. Sure it sticks. Get my bread box. Peel off the stencil. Place it where I want it. Remove the transfer tape. Okay, now I'm going to take my red paint and a paintbrush, and I'm going to go over the words, just dabbing, not rubbing, just dabbing. Rubbing may cause it to get underneath the stencil. This way you have more control. Try not to overload your brush either. Now let's dry it. Now let's put a second coat on. So we can't see any white. Make sure I've got it all covered. And now let's remove the stencil before it dries. It's easier to take it off before it dries. And if you have a little bleed through, you can always touch it up. Which, as you can see, I did. Let's go ahead and remove the inside of the letters. Now let's give it a dry. I'm now going to take a very fine paintbrush and go over the spots that there's been a little bit of bleed. Now that I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and seal it in with some Mod Podge. Very gently, so as not to smear it. And there you have it. I'm going to set it aside and let it finish drying. For this project, you're going to need something like this, like a chalkboard, some kind of cover, skeleton keys, Mod Podge, some kind of hook, and some twine. What we're going to do is I'm going to measure my covering. See how big I need it to be. Trim any excess. All right, now I'll take my Mod Podge, put a layer on the back of the board, do this a section at a time. Place it inside. Make sure it sticks. Add a layer to the other side. Lay it down. you may have to trim some more. I'll put another layer on top just to seal it in. I don't want this fraying or pulling off, so I'm going to seal it in pretty good. And it'll stiffen it somewhat too. Let's give it a dry. While this is drying, I'm going to take my hanger and move it to the other side. Okay, now, while this is still drying, I'm going to take my hook and go ahead and insert it into the frame. So it looks like this. Then I'll take my twine. See how much of it I want. Tie a knot. And hang it on my hook. You can, of course, hang whatever you want to from it. This is just what I chose to do. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you how to etch on glass. What you will need is a glass vase or some kind of glass container, some of this Armor Etch gloss etching cream, a brush, most importantly, some gloves, and a stencil. This is the stencil I'm going to be using. It's going to be about 5 inches by 5 inches. This may take some time, so I won't bore you all with waiting. Now that I have my stencil cut out, I'm going to go ahead and weed it. As this may take some time, I'm going to go ahead and get this weeded, and then I'll be right back. Now that I have it weeded, I'm going to go ahead and apply it to my vase. Now I'm going to find where I want to place it. Make sure it's set down. Take the transfer tape off. Make sure it's stuck very well. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my gloves on because it says you do not want this to get in contact with your skin. So I'll put me some gloves on. It says put out brush on a thick layer. And in all nooks and crannies. I've never tried this before. This is the first time for me. I've always wanted to, but never got around to it. Let's put a liberal amount on it. I think I'm just going to pat it on. Make sure it's on there good and thick. Can you see? Just going to make sure it's on there really thick to make sure it etches very well. Let's hope this works. We're all trying this together. Now it says you have to wait 3 minutes and then you go rinse it off. And then you remove the stencil as you're rinsing. So let's wait 3 minutes. Now let's rinse it off. Let's take the sticker off and see if it worked. And it worked. Well, that's it for today, my crafty crew. I hope you enjoyed these 3 simple, economical projects that we did today. Don't forget, hit up those thrift stores. Think outside the box. Try new things. I'm sure you will enjoy them as much as I do. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, and to comment below on things you would like to see me try. Until next time, my crafty crew, I'll see you later. Bye.